I want to talk about the Royal Mail because we've noticed the price of a stamp going up, but £3.57 billion is perhaps a lot. The cheque is in the post apparently from a Czech billionaire, Daniel Křetínsky. His takeover of Royal Mail has edged closer after its owner agreed terms and conditions. Johnbosco Nwogbo is the lead campaigner at We Own It, which is a voice for everyone who wants UK public services to be run for people, not profit, they say. Johnbosco, this presumably doesn't have your stamp of approval.
It does not. I should start by saying that obviously the takeover has not actually taken place.
Yeah, it's moved a step closer, hasn't it?
Exactly. The IDS, the company that currently owns Royal Mail, has accepted the proposal. The government does need to approve it. And as many of your viewers will know, we are in the midst of a general election at the moment. And I think it's quite an important point to be made that we don't know what the plans of this Czech billionaire is with Royal Mail. And so it's important that this takeover be halted until a new government is elected so that government can decide whether or not to allow the takeover or indeed to use that as an opportunity to bring Royal Mail back into public hands where it was for 500 years before it was sold off on the cheap
Why is it
by the
important to
coalition
you,
government.
Johnbosco? Why is it important to you that Royal Mail is in public hands? Why does that matter?
It matters because of what Royal Mail does. A very good example of what happens when this question is asked is what's happening with Thames Water at the moment. Royal Mail does something that we cannot do without. It connects up the entire country. It connects up businesses. It connects up patients with the NHS.
You're right, Johnbosco. Sorry to interrupt you. I
Yes.
mean, you're right, but the comparison's not entirely correct, is it? Because people who are customers of Thames Water, and I'm one of them, you can't get your water from anywhere else. You can't just say, well, I really like the look of Severn water, or really like the look of, Scottish water, therefore I'm going to get my water from there. Whereas with the Royal Mail, if you don't like the Royal Mail, there are lots of other ways, there are lots of other companies that will post, maybe not, well, yes, letters as well as parcels as well, and there is a sort of diversity of supply within that. It's not a monopoly.
So that is partly correct. Royal Mail, though, is the only one, besides Post Office, that has the universal service obligation. What that means is that they have a duty to deliver letters to every single house in Great Britain and Northern Ireland. If you are posting a first-class letter, they have a duty to make sure it's delivered on the next working day. And they have to do this all at exactly the same price, whether or not you're posting it from London to the Highlands in Scotland, or you're posting it from one street to the next street. So they have a duty that the other companies don't have that makes this service quite a monopoly in that respect, in the sense that it's not a monopoly in the way that water is, but it's a monopoly in the sense that they're the only ones that have a duty to connect up the country in the way that they do.
Why are you fearful that if this goes into the hands of this particular person, Daniel Křetínsky, that could be at risk? Because surely you can build that into the deal and you can say that the fundamental bits of Royal Mail that you've just mentioned, and I agree are very important, can be part of that deal.
So we're not necessarily particularly worried about this Czech billionaire. We are concerned about privatization overall. Something that's quite important to say is that we don't actually know exactly what this person's plans are, right? It could be that he's coming in to invest a great deal of money and improve it. It could also be that he's coming in to asset strip it and load it up with debt. We don't know for sure. Something else that's also really, really important is that in March, the government actually launched a consultation on whether or not to reduce the universal service obligation. At the moment, people receive letters 6 days out of every seven. The consultation suggested reducing that to three, which would be dangerous for a lot of businesses.
Yes, and
And
certainly
I
a lot
think
of a lot
that
of them rely on things arriving on time and consistently as well. Johnbosco, slightly different question. Why are stamps so expensive?
Really good question. For those in the audience who don't know, in October last year, first class stamps went up in price, and that was about 47% higher than it was 18 months before. And I don't think that they need to be as expensive as they are at the moment. It's all built into the profit structure of the system. The current company, IDS, made £400 million in profits in 2021. That is money that if this company was in public ownership, it could have been plowed back into the system to improve it, keep the price of stamps down for users. And we wouldn't need to be asking questions of which billionaire in what part of the world is coming around to take over another beloved public service in Britain.
Okay, Johnbosco Nwogbo, thank you very much indeed. Johnbosco is the lead campaigner at We Own It, a voice for everyone, they say, who wants UK public services to be run by people and not profit.